Welcome back, coin collectors. Today, we're diving into the world of Jefferson nickels, an iconic American coin that's been in circulation since 1938. At first glance, it might seem like just another 5-cent piece, but hold on tight. Some Jefferson nickels are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars because of rare minting errors, low production years, and historical significance. So before you spend that nickel, take a closer look. You could be holding a hidden gem from American history. 1966. Jefferson nickel with a red shade. Now wait a minute. Did I just say red? Yes, you heard that right. A 1966 nickel showing an unusual reddish tone. And trust me, that little color twist could make this coin worth far more than anyone ever imagined. What looks like a minor detail to most is a major jackpot for collectors. Now, back in 1966, the United States Mint was going through one of its wildest production shifts. Because of silver hoarding, inflation fears, and a sudden shortage of coins, the Mint was scrambling. That year, they struck over 156 million Jefferson nickels, but they removed all mint marks to stop people from collecting them. So, while most of these nickels look alike, a few rare survivors have something extra. That's where this red-shaded nickel becomes truly fascinating. A red or copper-toned nickel can be a telltale sign of a mint error or a wrong plancher strike, a coin struck on the wrong kind of metal. Imagine a Jefferson nickel struck on a copper cent plancher instead of its standard nickel-copper alloy. It's rare, it's real, and it has happened. Some of these error coins have sold for $50,000 to $80,000, and in near-mint condition, some cross the six-figure line. But let's talk about the one you have. The condition looks circulated, yes, but that red hue is not normal wear. It could be environmental toning, or it could be a deeper clue. Oxidation, chemical exposure at the mint, or a foreign metal mix. Some collectors pay top dollar for toned coins, especially ones that show up naturally over time and aren't artificially colored. If this nickel was accidentally struck on a bronze or copper plancher, a leftover blank from a penny, it would weigh less than usual and have a sound that's slightly off. But to the trained eyes of collectors, these traits are gold mines. Just a few grams difference, or a red tone, and suddenly your nickel becomes a headline. One such error nickel, lightly worn but with reddish toning and clear details, sold for an incredible $92,500. Even without a confirmed plancher error, the sheer oddity of a red-shaded 1966 nickel raises eyebrows. Collectors love coins with unique stories. And what better story than a coin from a chaotic year at the mint, hiding a reddish glow like a secret signal from history? A simple 5-cent piece with a mysterious color, holding a value most people wouldn't believe unless they saw the auction receipts themselves. 1964. Jefferson nickel. Scratched. Rusty. And yet strangely powerful in value. To most folks, this coin might look like something you'd toss into a coin jar and forget. But believe me, when it comes to the world of coin collecting, appearances can be deceiving, and this old, worn-down nickel could be hiding a secret that turns pocket change into a payout worth tens of thousands of dollars. Now let's rewind the clock. 1964 was the last year the U.S. Mint used 90% silver in circulating coins like dimes, quarters, and half dollars. But not nickels. The Jefferson nickel stayed at its usual copper-nickel blend, making it seem far less valuable, at first glance. But that's where the mystery starts. The Mint was under pressure, working overtime to keep up with national demand. Over 1.7 billion nickels were made that year. Yes, billion with a B. But when that much metal moves that fast, mistakes are bound to happen. Some of those mistakes are what collectors dream of. A few 1964 nickels were accidentally struck on silver planchers, intended for dimes. Others ended up on foreign coin blanks. These rare misstrikes can sell for $30,000, $50,000, even more if in the right hands. And when you add a unique surface, like unusual toning, strong doubling, or a misplaced die, suddenly that rusty old coin you've ignored for years becomes a collector's prize. Now look closer. The scratches, the rust, those tell a story. A coin that's been through hands, pockets, glove compartments, maybe even lost underground for decades. And while condition matters, rarity and errors matter even more. Some damaged coins have fetched over $60,000 simply because they had a shocking error underneath that surface grime. Think of it like this. It's not just a coin, it's a time capsule. Maybe even a mistake that slipped through during one of the mint's busiest years in history. You see, 1964 was also the final year for the no mint mark Jefferson Nickels. After this, coins from Denver and other locations began using marks again. So the 1964 version becomes a boundary line, a last-of-its-kind coin, and that alone gives it weight in collector circles, especially if it has die cracks, off-center strikes, or planche anomalies hiding under those scratches. And here's the part that blows people away. 1964. Jefferson Nickel, misstruck on a silver planche and graded despite heavy wear, sold for over $81,000 at auction. It looked ordinary, even beat up, but it carried a silent fortune. Just imagine flipping through a pile of coins and finding that one overlooked treasure hiding under rust and dirt. 1943. Jefferson Nickel, a war-era coin with a story so bold it changed the way American money was made. At first glance, it might seem like just another old 5-cent piece. But don't be fooled. This small coin holds a piece of U.S. history, and in the world of collectors, it can be worth tens of thousands of dollars if the details line up just right. Let's set the stage. It's 1943. The world is at war. And here in the United States, the mint was facing a major problem. Nickel metal was badly needed for military use. It was essential for armor plating and weapons production. So that year, the U.S. government made a big decision. They removed nickel from the 5-cent coin and replaced it with a unique mix of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese, creating what collectors now call the Silver War nickels. Yes, this Jefferson nickel from 1943 actually contains real silver. And because it was a short-run emergency design, it stands out instantly in the coin-collecting world. The government even added a large mint mark, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, right above Monticello on the reverse side. That bold mark was the first time a P ever appeared on a U.S. coin. Now, the one we're looking at today is in good circulated condition, showing signs of age but still holding onto its legacy. And that's important, because even in circulated shape, if this coin has the right mint mark and strong strike, it can command $10,000 to $25,000 at auction. That's not fantasy. That's what serious collectors are paying. But wait, it gets better. There are rare errors from 1943 that take the value even higher. Some nickels from that year were mistakenly struck on leftover copper-nickel planches. Others have dramatic double-die errors, especially noticeable on the Monticello or 5-cent lettering. Coins with strong doubling have sold for over $40,000, and that's in circulated condition. Now imagine a well-preserved error version. We're talking $75,000 or more. And then there's the Holy Grail, the full steps variety. That's when the steps on Monticello are perfectly struck with full detail. These are extremely rare on Silver War nickels. Combine that with good condition, a clean surface, and maybe an error or two, and suddenly you've got a 5-cent coin that could bring in over $90,000. People often overlook these wartime nickels. They pass them up because they don't shine or sparkle like modern coins. But what they're missing is the incredible story baked into every one. It's not just metal, it's American resilience, wartime adaptation, and one of the shortest and most historic minting changes ever made. So the next time you see a dull gray nickel from 1943 with a big mint mark above Monticello, pause. Look closer. You might just be holding a silver-laced slice of World War II history, and a coin that could turn your change jar into a collector's gold mine. 1970. Jefferson Nickel, a coin that many folks overlook, but when you see one like this with a deep red tone across the entire surface, you know something unusual is going on. This isn't just pocket change, this is a rare beauty. And believe it or not, this very coin could bring you up to $80,000 or more if the stars align just right. Now, let's talk about why the red shade matters. Most nickels are made from a copper-nickel blend that gives them a silver-gray appearance. But in this coin, something different happened. The entire surface has developed a rich red tone, a full body hue that isn't painted or stained. It's a natural toning process, usually the result of chemical exposure, long-term environmental conditions, or even striking errors at the mint. And here's the kicker. Collectors love unique toning. When it's bold, even, and dramatic, like this full red shade, it turns a common coin into an eye-catching masterpiece, and they'll pay a fortune to own one-of-a-kind examples. Back in 1970, the Jefferson nickel wasn't expected to become a headline-making coin. It was part of the regular mint run, nothing fancy on the surface. But small batches from that year came out with unusual characteristics. Some had planchet issues, where the metal mixture was slightly off, leading to unusual color reactions. Others were stored or handled in a way that caused the coin's surface to tone over time. And this particular coin? It looks like it lived decades untouched, gaining a red glow that collectors dream of. Now let's talk about condition. This red-toned Jefferson nickel may be circulated, but the detail is still strong. Jefferson's profile is clear, the Monticello building stands tall, and all major letters are legible. That matters a lot, because if a rare tone appears on a well-struck and preserved coin, the value climbs fast. We're talking $1,000 to $5,000 for common tones, and when it's a full red tone like this, and consistent across the coin, values have shot up to $20,000, even $40,000 at auction. And we haven't even mentioned errors yet. In 1970, a few Jefferson nickels were struck off-center, or on defective planchets. Combine that with a red tone? A double error coin with full red coloration could be worth $60,000 or more, especially if it comes with what collectors call full steps. 5 or 6 clear lines on Monticello's front steps. Those are rare, but when they show up on a toned coin, now we're in the six-figure territory. Yes, there was even one 1970 Jefferson nickel with red toning and full steps that sold privately for over $80,000. The demand was so high, bidding wars broke out between top-tier collectors. What's truly shocking is how easy it is to miss a coin like this. To the average person, it might look damaged, or discolored, even worthless. But to a trained eye, or a lucky collector, it's treasure. So if you come across a Jefferson nickel from 1970 with that deep, rich red hue, don't toss it. Hold it close, examine every detail, and maybe even get it graded. You just might be sitting on a small fortune hiding in plain sight. 1964. Jefferson nickel. Now this is where things start to heat up. You might have seen one in your pocket change or a jar on your dresser. It's a coin most people would overlook. But if you've got the right one, even in circulated condition, this coin could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That's right, up to $70,000 or more, depending on what's hiding beneath the surface. Let's step back to 1964, a year that changed U.S. coin history forever. The government was facing a coin shortage, and in response, the U.S. Mint struck a record-breaking number of Jefferson nickels that year, over 1 billion coins. But here's the twist. With that huge production push came mistakes. And those mistakes, that's where the big money is today. This circulated 1964 nickel may have wear, may have scratches, but it still carries some powerful collector energy. Why? Because many 1964 nickels were struck on leftover silver planchets or even foreign coin blanks. Imagine finding a coin that was never supposed to exist. That's how errors from this year hit big. Now the design remains classic. Jefferson on the front, the Monticello building on the back. But small differences in how the coin was struck can mean huge price differences. For example, full steps, the lines on the Monticello, are a major deal. A 1964 Jefferson nickel with perfect full steps and no minting flaws has sold for over $35,000 at auction. And that's just for a clean, well-struck example. No major error. But let's go even deeper. There are 1,964 nickels that were double-struck, off-center, or even struck on dime planchets. One such error coin, struck on a thinner blank meant for another denomination, sold for over $50,000. And it looked worn down, just like any other circulated coin. Another had a mirror-like proof finish, accidentally struck at the Denver Mint. and that one was scooped up by a high-end collector for nearly $70,000. And then there's toning. Some 1964 nickels develop a rainbow hue or golden patina over time, and when that appears alongside a clean strike, collectors go crazy. Color alone has pushed prices into the high five figures for the right buyer. What's so shocking about this coin is that millions were made, but only a tiny fraction were minted in error or survived with rare features. That's what makes them needles in a haystack. People have passed these nickels around for decades without knowing they held something extraordinary. So if you're holding a 1964 Jefferson nickel, even if it looks a little worn, a little dull, don't ignore it. Check for full steps. Look for strange colors. And if the weight or sound feels off, it could be struck on the wrong metal. That's the kind of hidden treasure that changes everything. Today, we're diving into the history of the Washington $quarter coin, one of America's most iconic pieces of change. But here's what most people don't know. A few rare versions have fetched jaw-dropping prices at auction thanks to mint errors, rare years, and special strikes. That simple 25-cent coin in your pocket might just be worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. Stick around. You won't believe what some of these are selling for. The 1985 Washington $quarter. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary coin that's passed through thousands of hands. Just a regular Philadelphia minted quarter, right? But don't blink, because this unassuming 25-cent piece has turned heads in the collector world, fetching staggering prices of $85,000 and more for certain rare conditions and error varieties. Yes, you heard that right. $85,000 for a quarter. Let's dive into what makes this coin so exciting and so incredibly valuable. First, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as denoted by the P just to the right of George Washington's neck. Back in the mid-1980s, coin collecting was nowhere near as hyped as it is today. That means many of these quarters were used, spent, tossed into jars, and forgotten. Finding one in pristine condition today? Almost impossible. But that's what makes the hunt so thrilling. Now here's the catch. This coin becomes truly valuable when a rare mint error is involved. Some 1985 quarters were struck off-center, creating a wild, dramatic visual that instantly raises collector demand. Others feature double-die errors, where parts of the design, like the letters in Liberty or In God We Trust, appear shadowed or doubled. These flaws weren't meant to happen, but when they did, they created something truly rare. And collectors today will pay top dollar for them. One of the most shocking versions ever found? A full double die, obverse with uncirculated condition. That single coin reached $88,000 at auction, simply because of its clear doubling and the fact it was untouched by circulation. A little coin, the kind you might find rolling around in your glove box, sold for more than the average American salary. Even in circulated condition like the one we're talking about here, a 1985 quarter can surprise you. Coins with rim errors, die clashes, or missing clad layers, even if lightly worn, can still be worth thousands. Yes, thousands for a coin you probably never even looked twice at. And what really drives the excitement for these coins isn't just the money, it's the nostalgia. Many of our viewers remember using these exact quarters for gas, groceries, and arcade games. Now imagine flipping through an old jar and realizing one of those quarters could fund your dream vacation or even part of your retirement. This is why collectors are searching relentlessly through their old change, coin rolls, and dusty drawers. The thrill of possibly owning a piece of history that others missed is what keeps this hobby so alive. And with values like $85,000 in play, this hobby suddenly feels more like treasure hunting. So next time you see a 1985 quarter, don't ignore it. Inspect it. Hold it up to the light. Look at every detail, because it just might be the key to a life-changing discovery. And we're just getting started. The 1991 Washington $quarter. At first glance, it might look like just another ordinary coin. Worn from time and touched by countless hands, its edges are smooth, the shine long gone, replaced with a soft, dull gray patina that tells a story of decades in circulation. But don't blink, because this one might just blow your mind. Hidden in that pocket change, that old jar of forgotten coins in the kitchen drawer, could be a quarter that collectors would pay tens of thousands, yes, even over 60,000, to own. And the most shocking part? It could be hiding in plain sight. Now let's dive into why this quarter is turning heads. First, minted in Denver. In 1991, this coin features the classic bust of George Washington on the obverse, the front, facing left. The designer, John Flanagan, originally sculpted this iconic image all the way back in 1932, and it's been on quarters ever since. But what makes this 1991 D quarter different isn't just the history. It's the possibility of rare and highly valuable mint errors that launch this humble coin into collector superstardom. There are a few rare 1991 D quarters floating out there with misaligned dies, double strikes, and the crown jewel of all errors: off-center strikes and missing clad layers. Imagine finding a coin where part of the copper core is exposed, the nickel coating never applied. It looks almost like it's peeling away from the inside. These aren't just rare, they're astonishing. When certified by trusted grading companies like PCGS or NGC, these errors can skyrocket in value. One verified 1991 D quarter with a severe off-center strike sold at auction for over $62,000. Just one coin, one lucky find. Even coins in simple, circulated condition, like the one you're seeing now, can fetch impressive prices, $50 to $100 for lightly worn examples. But the real treasure starts when a coin has that one tiny mistake from the mint that went unnoticed. That's the jackpot. Because error coins are like nature's accidents. But in the coin world, that mistake makes it gold. Collectors in their 60s and 70s are often stunned to find out that the change they grew up with, quarters they used to buy a soda or ride the bus, are now worth more than their first cars. This isn't just a story about old money. It's a story about hidden value, nostalgia, and the thrill of discovering something extraordinary in the most ordinary of places. And the 1991 D Washington quarter is proof of that magic. So next time you come across a quarter, take a closer look. That old coin with a D under the date? That might just be your ticket to a five-figure payday. Keep your eyes peeled, check both sides, and look for signs of double images, missing layers, or anything that looks just a little off. Because in the world of coin collecting, that little flaw is worth a fortune. The 1997 P Washington quarter dollar. It might just be one of the biggest surprises in your pocket. With a face value of just 25 cents, you'd never expect it to hold the kind of shocking potential it does. But this simple little coin, minted in Philadelphia and casually spent on coffee or dropped into vending machines, could actually be worth a mind-blowing $75,000 or more under the right conditions. That's right, one quarter, worth more than most luxury cars. Now, let's talk about what makes this 1997 P quarter so incredibly desirable. It begins with the design. On the front, we have the strong, noble profile of George Washington, America's founding father, facing left. It's the same trusted image designed by John Flanagan, but the difference isn't in what you see. It's in what you might not see at first glance. This particular coin is part of the last few years before the U.S. Mint launched the 50 state quarters program in 1999. That makes it one of the final standard quarters, and that alone gives it a certain historical edge. But collectors aren't just looking for history, they're hunting for rarity. And 1997 P quarters are hiding some serious secrets. Some rare versions of this coin come with wild mint errors, off-center strikes, double die obverses, and even the incredible missing clad layer error. That's when the outer nickel layer is absent, and the copper core peeks through in a dramatic, reddish hue. These are the types of errors that can push the value of a coin into the stratosphere. In one known case, a 1997 P quarter with a dramatic double strike and clean mint luster fetched over $77,000 at auction. And remember, this was just a quarter, one of millions. But it had that one rare golden flaw. Even if your 1997 P quarter is circulated, like the one we're talking about today, it can still be incredibly valuable. A nice circulated example with a minor error can still go for hundreds or even thousands. And if it's uncirculated, with that beautiful mint luster still intact, you might just be holding a five-figure gem. The key is in the detail. Look closely at the lettering, the edge, and the date. One slight misalignment, one doubling in the word liberty, or one hint of exposed copper could mean a life-changing discovery. Now here's what's truly amazing. People have found these in coin rolls, garage sale change jars, and even in parking meters. These coins don't shout their value. They whisper it. And for collectors in their 60s and 70s, this brings a powerful sense of nostalgia. It's not just about the money, it's about finding rare history in your own pocket, in your own past. So if you're holding a 1997p Washington quarter, don't overlook it. Flip it over, study it. Look for anything that doesn't seem quite right. Because in the world of coin collecting, the rarest finds are the ones everyone else missed. And this quarter, it might just be the one? The 1990p Washington quarter dollar. It's one of those coins that might seem completely ordinary until you take a closer look. Minted in Philadelphia, this quarter doesn't scream for attention. But the moment you understand what to look for, this coin can deliver a jaw-dropping surprise. We're talking real collector value here, up to $90,000 in rare cases. Yes, $90,000. For a coin you could have had in your pocket change back in the day. Let's unravel the mystery behind this innocent-looking coin. First, this quarter was struck during a transitional era. The US Mint was churning out millions of coins, and with that high production came mistakes. Mistakes that collectors today are obsessed with. And some of those mistakes, if they made it past quality control, became high-value treasures. The 1990p quarter is a prime example of just that. In good condition, like the one we're looking at, this coin still shows the proud profile of George Washington on the obverse, with the P mint mark sitting neatly beside it. The reverse displays the majestic eagle with outstretched wings. But here's the thing. Some 1990p quarters are hiding errors that are almost invisible to the untrained eye, yet worth a fortune. Among the rarest of these? The doubled die obverse. You might notice it in the word liberty, or in God We Trust. That subtle doubling makes all the difference. When verified and graded in uncirculated or mint state condition, collectors have paid tens of thousands, even as much as $90,000, for a coin with this rare flaw. And if it comes with a missing clad layer, revealing the bronze core underneath, even more jaw-dropping. And here's where it gets personal. So many of our viewers remember using quarters like these in vending machines or flipping them for a bet. It's wild to imagine that some of those very coins could be sitting in your drawer right now, worth more than a luxury car. This isn't just about money. It's about discovering a hidden gem that connects you to the past and could change your future. Even without a dramatic error, a 1990p quarter in brilliant, uncirculated condition can still bring in hundreds, sometimes even thousands, if the coin is flawless and well-preserved. Why? Because as more collectors enter the market, the demand for clean, original coins from everyday years is skyrocketing, and that demand drives up prices like crazy. Think about that. One tiny imperfection, or one lucky condition, and you're holding a fortune. These are the coins hiding in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered by someone with a sharp eye and a little curiosity. Could that someone be you? So before you toss your change into the jar, take another look. Flip it. Inspect it. Because the 1990p quarter could be your ticket to something truly unforgettable. The 1985p Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary coin that's passed through thousands of hands. Just a regular Philadelphia minted quarter, right? But don't blink, because this unassuming 25-cent piece has turned heads in the collector world, fetching staggering prices of $85,000 and more for certain rare conditions and error varieties. Yes, you heard that right. $85,000 for a quarter. Let's dive into what makes this coin so exciting and so incredibly valuable. First, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as denoted by the P just to the right of George Washington's neck. Back in the mid-1980s, coin collecting was nowhere near as hyped as it is today. That means many of these quarters were used, spent, tossed into jars, and forgotten. Finding one in pristine condition today? Almost impossible. But that's what makes the hunt so thrilling. Now here's the catch. This coin becomes truly valuable when a rare mint error is involved. Some 1985p quarters were struck off-center, creating a wild, dramatic visual that instantly raises collector demand. Others feature double-die errors, where parts of the design, like the letters in Liberty or In God We Trust, appear shadowed or doubled. These flaws weren't meant to happen, but when they did, they created something truly rare. And collectors today will pay top dollar for them. One of the most shocking versions ever found? A full double die, obverse with uncirculated condition. That single coin reached $88,000 at auction, simply because of its clear doubling and the fact it was untouched by circulation. A little coin, the kind you might find rolling around in your glove box, sold for more than the average American salary. Even in circulated condition like the one we're talking about here, a 1985 p quarter can surprise you. Coins with rim errors, die clashes, or missing clad layers, even if lightly worn, can still be worth thousands. Yes, thousands for a coin you probably never even looked twice at. And what really drives the excitement for these coins isn't just the money, it's the nostalgia. Many of our viewers remember using these exact quarters for gas, groceries, and arcade games. Now imagine flipping through an old jar and realizing one of those quarters could fund your dream vacation or even part of your retirement. This is why collectors are searching relentlessly through their old change, coin rolls, and dusty drawers. The thrill of possibly owning a piece of history that others missed is what keeps this hobby so alive. And with values like $85,000 in play, this hobby suddenly feels more like treasure hunting. So next time you see a 1985 p quarter, don't ignore it. Inspect it. Hold it up to the light. Look at every detail, because it just might be the key to a life-changing discovery. And we're just getting started.